Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the official Beatscoin podcast. Actually, we have rebranded to make things a little more general, so we're calling it now Welcome to the Music and Crypto podcast, powered by Beatscoin, or powered by Viberbit. We're still figuring that out, but we'll get it. I have with me today a very special guest who has been on the show before, and the difference now is he is officially a team member of Beatscoin. Mr. Bryan, how you doing, man?
Yay, I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Actually, I'm great.
I'm happy, man. I'm excited. You've been on the team for several weeks now and have contributed a lot, and we're really focusing on the artist side of things to bring people onto the platform. So I knew that when I spoke to you the first time, and we spoke for quite a few hours for those couple of weeks, I said, man, this is someone that we need to have in our team. So I'm glad to have you on board.
I'm glad to be here.
So we have first, let's talk a little bit about Beatscoin. We have a fantastic episode with Lloyd Williams today. And I'm very excited about that. But I'm also excited about the progress that we've made with the project. I mean, we've got our Artist Accelerator program up. So as soon as our new site is coming up, we are going to be reaching out to as many artists as we can and, essentially giving them free Beatscoin to use our platform. So that way we have, many musicians on there as soon as we go, and we'll kickstart and hit the ground running, right?
Absolutely. It's going to be, the program is awesome. And Lloyd Williams, he's one of those individuals, dynamic personality, mentored me, and 20 years had gone by, and all of a sudden he's back in my life. And
isn't that amazing?
Involved. Yes, it is amazing.
So I'm really looking forward to hearing the stories that he has to tell. I'm definitely going to ask him about the story that you told me where he found you playing the guitar, and he's like, I want that guy to be my guitar player, my guitarist.
No, exactly. So can't wait, till he jumps on and tell you his story, and some great things coming because, Lloyd is involved. He's active with, a pretty big production team. So I won't let the cat out of the box. So stay tuned for that.
Right. Definitely. So I know you've been in his ear, and he knows a little bit about blockchain now and how it can affect the music industry. You guys got to stick in and listen to see what type of people that we have the reach to get to when we talk to Lloyd. He'll tell you himself, but things are on the up and up, man. We had John McAfee, tweeting our CEO, Steven, and saying that he likes the project. So that's exposure outside of the Tron community. So I think the sky is the limit with this one.
Oh, absolutely. And for those who may not know who McAfee is, I mean, back in the day, when I got into computers, it was like, do you want to do McAfee software or Norton? Speaking of legends and superstars, right?
Right. Yeah,
there you have it.
He's definitely a legend in his thing. So it was cool to get a shout out from him. And then also just the fact that we're so close to nearing our completion of the platform and launching a beta stage of it. So we're really excited about that, man. So enough about Beatscoin. Let's get straight to the legend, man. Lloyd Williams, you guys know who he is. We're going to have a great time, a great discussion with him. Thanks for jumping on the podcast with me, Bryan, and let's go ahead and get it started.
Awesome, man. I want to give a shout out. Remember that word shout.
Yeah. Special shout out to Lloyd Williams. We'll just get straight to the point. Let's play the song.
You make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now, don't forget to say you will. Don't forget
All right, everybody, I'm with the legendary Lloyd Williams this afternoon. How are you doing, Lloyd?
I'm doing great, Alex. How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's not every day that you get to speak to a legend, so I'm very excited about this.
Warm my heart. You make me feel real good about myself. I appreciate that.
So for the youngsters, I recorded myself doing a little video saying, "Hey, I'm about to talk to Lloyd Williams," and I said, "If you don't know who Lloyd Williams is, you do know who Lloyd Williams is because of your song Shout and it being on Animal House, which is something that many people, the youngsters, may not know about, but everyone back then knows about, and they've still heard that song. Tell me a little. Start off by telling us that experience recording that song and how it came to be.
Well, you know what? It was a great opportunity that was presented to me by the late, great Norman Whitfield. Now, Norman Whitfield, if you want a little background on him, was the gentleman that's responsible for I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Papa was a Rolling Stone with Motown. He had numbers and numbers and numbers of hits. And so I was given an opportunity. He had just completed the movie Car Wash and had Rolls Royce doing the soundtracks. And he got another production for the movie Animal House. And he had heard about me via his group called The Undisputed Truth. And so he asked me to come down. He gave me a demo of Shout and said, "You got 20 minutes to learn this because I've heard such good things about you. I'm sure you're capable." And I took the 20 minutes, came out of the booth, went in the room, and all these musicians were there, and it was the Funk Brothers. I was just like in awe. Like, the Funk Brothers, okay, playing on my track. So I didn't realize how big of a hit it was until after all the dust cleared, Alex. I thought it was just something that I do normally. I'm a church singer, I'm a gospel singer, and I just felt like I was just doing what I do. But amazingly enough, it took off. It became one of the biggest songs during its period and its era. And like you said, the young people that didn't get a chance to see the movie Animal House, they still, if they were a basketball or a sports fan, they still heard it at a number of sports events, and they still play it in some arenas on market occasions, such as the Super Bowls or the NBA playoffs, right, and things like that.
Right. I want to say, I mean, I could be wrong, but I want to say I remember playing in the PlayStation, and I don't know if it was like NFL Game Day 98 or something like that, when you would score a touchdown, you would hear that song in the background. Is that possible, or am I off saying that?
That's it. No, absolutely. No. That was it. The Denver Broncos used it every time they scored a touchdown. The Seattle Seahawks used it every time they scored a touchdown. So I would get T calls from all over whenever an event was going on or a game was. We had a girlfriend, Alex, that went out to buy a Valentine's Day card, and lo and behold, she brought back out on a Valentine's Day card, and it had said that I was by my permission and all that, which it wasn't, but it was great. It was awesome to just see that it was traveling around like that. It was in so many places that I was totally unaware of.
It's just amazing to see the reach of what one song can have, and it's one that has lasted generation through generation or decades now, and it's cool because it just makes you want to get up and shout.
Absolutely. It doesn't change. The rhythm is still there. And I noticed that now, Alex. I was at an event, a Christmas holiday party, and they had a DJ there. And somehow word got to him that I was in the building. And, oh, my God, for the finale of the evening, Shout was just like, and he just said, hey, all DJs play it at all of the parties, all the bar mitzvahs and all of the big events. And I'm like, that's such a blessing.
That's awesome, man. So tell me a little bit about your childhood leading up to, getting into Motown, because you said you're a church singer, you're a gospel singer. We clearly hear that in your voice, how it's very uplifting. But how did you get there?
Well, I actually started when I was 11 years old, and I say that because I picked up the trumpet then. I started playing trumpet. There was a gentleman, one of my teachers, who was a huge big band lover, and he played trumpet. And I one day asked Mr. Miller, I said, well, you know, because he played for us on occasions, and he says, well, I'm going to put a elementary school band together, and I want you guys to pick out instruments if you want to be a part of it. And I chose the trumpet. So I got involved in that, and I was playing along, and then he heard me singing a gospel song one day, and he says, oh, wait, you should be in the talent show. And I was like, but I wasn't aware that I sang as well as I did. I just thought it was something that I do.
That's good. It's humble right there.
Right. And amazingly enough, I got put together with these two girls dancing behind me, and they had me do a song called I'm a Girl Watcher. That's kind of dating me. But back in the day, that was a huge song, I'm a Girl Watcher. And surprisingly enough, from that point, he took a liking and started managing me. And he managed me all the way up to high school. And then I was picked up by, I went from a integrated high school to an all-black high school. And the musical director there and the track coach, because that's what I did. I ran track, and I also played the trumpet and sang. And the track coach, he approached me, and his name is Stanley McDonald, amazing guy. You probably heard of his daughter, who is the huge singer and opera singer, Audra McDonald. So he basically took me under his wing, and I began singing, and we cut a little album in high school, and he was like, you know what? I said, well, I'm going to run track here in Fresno. And he says, well, you need to transfer to Los Angeles City College because I have a friend I want you to meet at Motown. And, of course, I just thought Stanley was talking, but amazing.
It was real.
Enough, it was real. And it was Norman that he wanted me to meet. And I was like, oh, my God. You know, because when I went to Fort Knox, which was Norman's studio, the Temptations were all still alive except for Paul. And I when I met them, I was like, wow, I've really made it. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm with all these guys that I've admired often on television and on wax. So it kind of started out like that, Alex. And ever since then, it's been amazing because from that point, I left after the Animal House thing took off. I was sent to Detroit. George Clinton, I don't know if you're familiar with the P-Funk Man.
Thanks to Bryan, I am.
Yes. Well, he asked me to move out to Detroit and record with him for a couple of years, and I did. So I got a chance to get involved with George Clinton and Bootsy and do a few of their albums, and along the way, again, some of the members that I met with the Temptations had splintered off, and so I started singing in their groups because they were like, hey, you sound like David Ruffin. That's what Norman said when he found me and says, hey, I can give you a hit, and the very first thing that we did took off. I mean, Shout went out the park. I mean, just amazing.
Wow. So after Detroit, how long were you in Detroit for?
I was in Detroit for 2 years. I was there from 87 to 89.
And then did you move back to California after that?
I moved right back to California, and I was out. As a matter of fact, I was preparing and gearing up. I'm a runner because if you recall, Bryan mentioned that. I was running through his alley one evening. And,
that's exactly what I was going to ask you.
See, and I was looking for a band, surprisingly enough, and I needed a band of my own.
Right.
And I'm jogging down the road, and I hear this amazing guitar player that sounded like a bit of Jimi Hendrix and a bit of Ernie Isley, and I was like, oh my God, who is that guy? So now I'm looking like a creep here, Alex. I'm looking in people's windows and knocking on doors saying, where's the sound coming from? They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the guitar player. Who's that? And eventually I ended up at his mother's door, and I knocked on his mother's door, and his dad came to the door, and I was like, wow, I don't know who's playing that music, but I love it, and my name is Lloyd. I'm a nice dude. I'm a good guy. I just need a band, and I'd like to start with whoever that is. And it kind of flourished from there. I got a chance to run that L.A. Marathon that year, but me and Bryan took off, and we did some amazing things, some amazing shows, and I always knew, because Bryan was rather young then. He was just getting out of high school, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct,
right.
Bryan? Yeah.
Yes.
So there wasn't a lot of places I could get them in, other than the agreement that, I would manage them and make sure that they didn't drink and all of that. But we did some amazing things and did some great shows.
Right. So Bryan, tell me about that moment right when Lloyd just like comes up to your house, and was your mom like, Bryan, someone's looking for you? Like, how was that moment?
Well, I think it was a couple of times, right? Because at one point, I don't think I was. Apparently, he heard it, and maybe I didn't answer the door the first time around. But
Right.
one time he was knocking very hard because we had these metal doors, bang, 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 and I opened the door and like, oh, okay. I thought it was a neighbor complaining. But I think, Lloyd, you heard me playing Knee Deep. I think I may have been playing to Ernie Isley or Knee Deep.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. You were playing some P-Funk. That's what got me. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah. It was probably Knee Deep, for the most part. No, but, I mean, it was great because I was ready. I was ready to play in the group. I was studying. My band was playing to the record. That's what you do. You play to the record until you figure you get an opportunity to play with someone.
So,
and Alex, he's being modest. He's being modest. He was killing on that guitar, man. I was like, I gotta have that. Whoever's playing that.
No, I know. I need to go. I might go up there to New York to get some lessons from him one-on-one because.
Absolutely.
So that route that you were running around, is that a route that you would always take, or you just happened to be there that day and heard him?
Well, that was a route that I always took because I knew that the marathon would be coming down that street, but I didn't want to be on the outside of the main street, which was Exposition, where the marathon wrapped up, because I'd already went around the course a couple of times, which was not a good thing, I found out later on, because I did get a potassium deficiency, and they said, well, you never run the course the first time, you just check it out, but I ran it. So that was like an area where it was parallel to the raceway. And so that's why I took that often. And then when I heard him over there, I took it as often as I could.
That's awesome, man.
Too kind.
Awesome. Lloyd, so that's just an awesome story right there.
But you know what? The thing was, it was him, and you're not going to remember this. Well, you probably do. You remember the little kid that was playing drums with you, Randy?
Yes, Randy, of course.
Yes. It was those two. Now, I knew Randy wasn't going to make the major league, but I knew Bryan would. That was the difference.
Sorry, Randy. Lloyd, so I know you like to give a lot back to the community. I was looking at your site and everything, and I know you work with communities that are training, and they have educational programs that help youth and help adults find employment. Tell us a little bit more about that, because that seems like something really good that you're doing.
Well, you know what? It started out with me working with pretty much individuals with barriers out of the neighborhood of the areas of Los Angeles, such as Compton and Watts. It was gang members I was working with at the time, and I found out I had a niche at it, which was surprisingly enough, someone was watching my show. They needed someone to help because during my period in the Bay Area, there was a huge earthquake there in 1989. And a lot of people were displaced. And so I was approached by a few fans that ran a nonprofit and said, hey, we need to get these people housing. Is it possible? And you're great with people that you can come and assist us. And I did. From that point, they were like, okay, we've got them stable housing. Can we get them some type of employment? So they gave me a newspaper and a yellow book, phone book, which we don't ever use anymore. And I began looking, and I was successful at it. I became so successful at it, Alex, that that was my second income, because at the time I became a single parent. My daughter's mom was moving to New York, and I didn't want her to go at such a young age. She was only 5. So I decided to become a single parent and and I needed a second income and to be grounded. So I took on this journey of getting people jobs and becoming a job developer. And I not only went from working with low income and gang members to, even at this time, I worked with the Los Angeles, and I worked with the Alameda County Probation Department, working with individuals as they got out of prison, called a second chance and reentry program in AB 109. Wow. So I've been doing it for some years, and I've been pretty successful at it. And it's great giving back,
Any particular success story that you'd want to share?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Pick your favorite one.
One of the biggest, my favorite success story is we had a these are individuals that not only wanted these jobs, some of them wanted careers. And I got an opportunity to work with a gentleman in the Bay Area by the name of Matthew Graves, if you want to take a look at that. Matthew Graves, he worked with a group called Oakland Youth First. And what he brought to the table, which I thought was amazing, was a training opportunity for these not only youth and adults. It's he was able to get them pilot's license. He had a flight simulator program where he would bring individuals in and teach them to be pilots, man, which was amazing, you know. And he also taught them how to channel boats through the channels out at the ports. He gave them these opportunities. And the other big thing about that was he brought along behind the scene and behind the camera work for individuals. And I thought everybody just fell in love with this. You know, they thought it could never happen. But I had adults with prison records getting pilot license, and the other thing was behind the scene, behind the camera, becoming engineers, becoming producers, and whatever they needed to do, be involved in these careers. So it was amazing, and it's still a lot of buzz going on about that.
Man, that's really awesome. And yeah, so you made it you were inducted into the R&B Hall of Fame. How is that? How do you get that honor? I'm curious.
Well, I was associated again. Not only did I have my hit by myself, I was Norman, in order to groom me back at the time, because he saw that I was totally unaware of the industry, put me in a group called The Undisputed Truth. Okay, and they had a hit called "Smiling Faces Tell Lies" in 1971.
Okay, yeah, I've listened to that one.
So they, along with the background and the work that they've done over the years, and me being a part of that, and them looking at the things that I'd done with Universal Pictures and Warner Brothers, I just got a letter saying, "Hey, we're inducting The Undisputed Truth. We want you to be involved in it since you were a member. Would you mind?" Of course, I was honored. So it was just, again, I'm on a path where even meeting with you guys here at Viberberry and Beatcoins, it's just a blessing and a journey that I have no control over. I'm just led to these opportunities, and it's just a blessing.
I agree, man. I didn't know things were going to take off. I'm just another average guy and who just had a passion for music, and I wanted to see, musicians be done right. And I think we stumbled onto a technology that's going to allow us to do that in the future. And I know Bryan has probably talked to you a lot already about what we're trying to do, because the industry is tough. I mean, what would you say about the industry in general, as far as the challenges? Like, what advices would you give to young musicians or musicians out there trying to, quote unquote, make it?
Well, the advice I would give them was the advice that I was not given, and that's to make sure that if there's paperwork involved, that you have someone with a professional eye to look at it. There's a lot more to the industry than the glitz and the glamour. I mean, there's a business end that should be totally learned. Because, again, there was no saying in the industry, if you don't know, they won't tell you. And that's unfortunate, and I felt that because I have to be honest with you, I got taken advantage of when I did Shout. Again, there was a big nasty about it where the producer that I was working with, Mr. Davis, Mark Davis, felt that because I was unaware, he took advantage of taking all of the credit and just said I was a fictitious character, which I had to prove later, 4 years later, which was ugly. So I want no other musician, young man or young woman to go through something like that, especially when you've been so successful and you were able to just, with raw talent, knock something out the park but not get any credit for it, was really, really harmful. In most cases, people end up doing weird things to their lives. I stayed spiritually grounded because I was that church kid, and I held on to that, and it kept me from falling apart. And so what I'm doing now with this group that I'm with called 1500 and Nothing.
That was right where I was going. Yeah, please tell
them.
us about 1500 or Nothing.
Amazing group of people, man. The Dobson family. It's an organization that the father and I are great fans. We've been singing for the last 20 years, and I remember when these kids were running in the bedroom just beating on a cassette tape and doing things transferring back and forth on that level. And now, 1500 or Nothing, his son, Lawrence, has 4 Grammys right now that he's gotten. We just got #1 record of the year for R&B, Boot Up. But he's got records on Jay-Z, the first hit, the big one that he had, Show Me What You Got. That's Lawrence Dobson. The 24 Karat, Bruno Mars, that's part of the team here. CeeLo Green, all of his music, that's part of the team here. T.I., Timberland, everybody, Snoop Dogg, everybody's working through this facility here, and I'm just glad to be, again, a part of it. Guided back. Pop gave me a call a couple of years ago and says, hey, man, we're taking off. We need you back here to get involved. And I was like, and at the time I was back in the Bay Area. But I felt after taking a look at it and seeing where the kids had gone to and from, I couldn't help but be involved. I mean, it's an opportunity for my career to be jump-started all over again and learn some of this new technology along with teaching these young people. And they have what is called 1500 Academy, which is an amazing school. You can go online.
Right, I was looking at that.
And again, it's just a great opportunity so that young people will not go through the anxiety and the stress that I went through just because of raw talent and what you deserve in life.
Right. And I think definitely that's where our goals as our company and our technology kind of lines up with that, because we don't want to see people go through that either. And I think that's fantastic that they have a whole academy dedicated to that. I was on the site 1500ornothing.com, and man, you guys, I mean, you threw out the big names out there. And I did watch a video with the CEO, and man, the guy is just a humble guy. Like, you could just tell. You know how you can tell when you're talking to people? And so
he's the best.
That's fantastic. So you have sort of an artist development role there, right? Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, what I'm doing is looking and seeking artists and developing them by, if we see something with some potential or someone with some potential, there's a vocal training that they go through, first of all, and then there's other entities that we bring in once we have gotten their voice and their confidence up to the point where, now keep in mind, along with this development, with the vocals, with the engineering, because they get it all. You don't just come in here and sing. You take the classes and you become a bit of an engineer so that you can do things at home.
Right.
The other thing is that along with that, they're being taught how to get their copyrights together, how to set up their publishing, all of those things. So that's where we're at in giving them that. Now, once we determine that they're ready, then it goes to the other phase where now we're finding the right song for them to release on them via the organization. So there is a method. It's a process, because a lot of people come in and say, hey, I'm great. I just want to just put me a record out. And it's like, no, we need to teach you the other steps in the process, because that's kind of happens to a lot of acts. They want to rush right into it and get a record out and just say, give me some upfront money or an advance, and I'll go do all of this. And at the end of the day, they don't know what they've given away.
Right. It just doesn't work that way. And if you try to force it, you're going to end up losing out big time.
Absolutely. And I love the idea that Bitcoins eliminates the third party and allows you to put out your material, and it's protected within the blockchain. And I felt like me and Bryan were talking that if we're going to be a part and promote something like this, we should use it to see and show the benefits.
Right. I mean, it's such a ambitious project, but I feel like we're off on the right track. And when you have a completely finished product with, all the things that it's capable of, it's going to be the number one choice for independent musicians and, you know, other musicians? Because, I mean, you've been around the industry for decades now, so you know how it's changed, you know, from,
Yes.
you know, everyone was buying CDs, and then all of a sudden you have the MP3s, and now no one's buying music. Everyone's streaming. Where do you see the music industry within the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think streaming and the digital work is that's the key. I mean, you're now being able to set up your own business without, as long as you get the education of how it works, because you have to know how it works. You can't just set it up
Right.
and allow a lot of other people to monitor your work. You have to put in the work yourself. And so I feel like with it going streaming and eliminating the record companies and going out here trying to get a deal with all of these other platforms to play your music on, it's a beautiful thing. It really has made me feel comfortable working around these young men and know that they're doing all of this without record deals.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the key.
It is, and I'm like, wow, this is a new birth for me. Even though I'm 40 years older than some of them and 30 years older, I'm learning from them, Alex. I'm getting that. You know, I'm glad I'm still of sound mind and body now to be able to get involved and take advantage of this at this time. That's for sure.
That's awesome, man. And I can hear your humility, and it's only going to take you further the way that you go about it. And I know you said eliminate the middleman, and we'll be honest, like there are times where you do need a middleman in the music industry, but what a lot of these middlemen are doing, they're just kind of taking advantage of these musicians, and it's just not fair.
No, it's not. It's not. You know, because some of the information they could give and charge one price, but again, if you feel like the cow doesn't know that it's giving milk, you just continue to milk the cow.
Right. So, I mean,
that's what a lot.
Yeah, there's middlemen that are needed, but we definitely want to eliminate the unnecessary middlemen and make things competitive again. And it's a long process, but I know a lot of people in the music industry that do want that. So it's excited to just stumble onto this and be a part of it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely, man. And I'm looking forward to the coming year. I'm glad we got an opportunity to do it this close to the beginning of the new year. So, you know, we got a few months to just really watch the seed grow.
Oh yeah. We're focusing on, you know, bringing in as many artists as we can and just educating people about the benefits of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. Right now, it may seem complex to many, but we're trying to make it as easy as possible so we can kind of bridge the gap and get more people involved so they could take advantage of all the benefits about it.
By all means. I'm looking to share the information here with this group of people, you know, because they're eager to learn what's out there, you know, and what's working.
Right. And believe us, Bryan and I are super excited about that. And all the potential opportunities, because it feels like everyone's on our side. Everyone wants to see us succeed. And because it's going to be a benefit for the entire, you know, music world. I mean, think about it. You're not going to have to be going on tour 24/7. You have more time to create better albums just because, you know, or more albums and better albums just because you have more time on your hands because you're not, you know, chasing the dollar bills, you know, because you're only getting a few percent of what you do.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of the older musicians and the artists that are still out there, they still have to go on the road in order to feed their families, and that's unfortunate.
Right. That's part of my inspiration in being involved with this is seeing many musicians that, you know, they have their families now. They're not 22, 23 anymore, and they still have to tour because they got to provide for them.
Yes. Unfortunately, yes.
Lloyd, thank you so much, man. I want to ask, now this is a time where I like to ask a little bit of kind of random questions, and I'm going to ask Bryan for his help over here. And
okay.
we just want to throw out completely random stuff. So I'm going to start with one. Bryan, think of something and to ask Lloyd. This is one that I've been trying to settle. waffles or pancakes?
Well,
I told you I'd get random.
Say Roscoe. I'm going to say Roscoe. Roscoe, you know where I'm going, Lloyd.
Absolutely. I just had it yesterday.
There you go. Tell them what you had, Lloyd. Tell them what you had.
We had chicken and waffles.
I'm a waffles guy, man. I told you I'm a waffles guy.
Yeah, Lloyd, you got to listen to the podcast that I did with Bryan, and he said the exact same thing.
Shows you how brilliant minds think alike, right?
Right.
And not only that, there's a lot of story behind Roscoe's. I mean, a lot of the entertainment folks do stop by Roscoe's and have their waffles, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, let's do this. Give me your favorite musician from each decade, starting at the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now.
Oh God, it's too many. It's too many. It's too many to leave someone out. So if you want to say the 80s, since you didn't, I mean the 70s, I would just tell you it was the P-Funk. But well, I'm going to say in the 80s, Solar Records, Leon Silver, the producer extraordinaire, bass player.
Lloyd, what about the 90s for you?
The 90s would be. And I because he came right in the door when I came in the door, and I still love him even though he's gone. Prince.
Wow, yeah, I agree. And how about the 2000s, early 2000s?
Early 2000s. Let me see. Early 2000s would actually be. My God, let me just put who did I go? Early 2000s, my God.
It's kind of hard because I don't know, from 2000 on, it kind of just like meshes, right? Even though music has changed a lot.
Yeah, they didn't stick out. I actually, as far as musicians are concerned, we didn't have a lot of them coming through because everyone was sampling and doing all this other stuff so much. But I thought. And I'm playing favorites here, but I thought Bruno Mars came out impeccably well with the old school things that he brought.
Yeah, I mean he's still killing it. He's still killing it nowadays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Real musician and all of that, and that's the key.
Bryan, how about? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing because we started in the 70s and 80s. You're talking about you had bands. You could identify bands like a very unique handprint. It's only one of its kind. Every band had its own little sound. It was live musicians playing. So in the 2000s, like you said, everything was just kind of okay. Then here's this like CeeLo Green. CeeLo Green started singing things, right? But that's coming back again from 1500 nothing. And then of course, I would say just like you said, Bruno Mars, because he was about the band performing,
Mm-hmm.
He wanted that whole experience. So I'll agree with you, Lloyd, on that.
Okay.
Yes,
and of course,
absolutely.
And of course, I have to give it up to Snoop Dogg too, because when he started bringing the dramatics, he would have live bands behind him.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely. He broke the mold on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lloyd, what about now? Who's your favorite new artist that's come out within the last couple of years?
Okay, within the last couple of years that I really, really love, it's a female. Her name is Her, and she's amazing. Again, she plays. She's and I like Janelle Monáe. I mean, again, they're doing real music and stuff. As far as the male artists that are out there. Again, I'd have to, and Bruno's not new, but I just have to stick with him for a moment.
That's fine.
He's
still coming out with new stuff, so that's great.
Yeah, he gives me much joy when he performs. I mean, it takes you back to when everything was live. And I wanted to segue into that's why I recorded. I don't know if you got a chance to hear Superstar that I did with Bryan, and we did it live, because I wanted to show.
Oh, I've got to listen to that.
It's truly still the essence of music.
I definitely got to listen to that. So, how about you, Bryan? Do you have any random question for Lloyd? I got one more. How about you?
Well, no random. I would just say though, Kendrick Lamar. I really like what he was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Pimp a Butterfly and all of that came out of 1500 or nothing again.
Lloyd, I think you're in the right place, and you got to stay there, and we got to come soon. Now,
yes, absolutely looking forward.
Yeah, last question. What's the latest book you've read, or something that most inspirational book that you've read recently or within the last year or two?
Okay. This is a two-part thing here. Going back to the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles situation, I was there last week.
Everything goes back to waffles.
Yeah. I was doing an interview with a young lady that I'm out of London, the UK. And while we were there, a gentleman walked up, and surprisingly enough, it was the amazing Mickey Stevenson. And he's the first A&R man for Motown. And it just so happens this year they're having the 60th anniversary of Motown. And so Mickey gave me an autographed copy of his book, Motown's First A&R Man. And so I'm reading that, and it's amazing. It's amazing. That's where I'm at with my books.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Hey, well, Lloyd, I want to finish up by reading this paragraph. It says, Lloyd is truly an inspiration to us all. It is in the face of overwhelming odds, he did what was best for himself and his family, as well as his career. He faced down a multi-billion-dollar, multinational corporation for what he believed was right. Through patience, perseverance, and support of his peers, he was able to stand strong against the industry giant and see his way to success. He is fulfilling his life's work being a good dad, a good employee, a good community caretaker, and a musician. We are so proud of all his dedication and hard work. Lloyd, it's said perfectly right there. I'm so happy to have had the chance to meet you, and I look forward to really just getting to know each other and hopefully working together with what we have going on, because it's going to be a huge change for the benefit of the whole music community.
Well, I appreciate you so much, and the pleasure is totally mine. It's good to be still talked about and have conversations with smart people who are moving forward and on the cusp of new cutting edges. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time out to even have conversation with me.
Absolutely, man. Of course, you're a legend, and thank you so much. I can't wait to play my new intro on the podcast every single time now. So appreciate you for that as well.
Oh, thank you so much, and I can't wait to hear it. And as a matter of fact, they're waiting on me next door to come in and lay some more great vocals for some soundtracks that we got going on.
There we go. Perfect timing, man. You take care of yourself.
All right. Thank you guys so much, man. And Bryan, we will talk very soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
You've been so good to me. You know you make me wanna lift my head up and throw my hands back and come on now, come on now, come on now, come on now. Take it easy, take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. A little bit softer now, 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 a little bit softer now.
Man, I had a great time talking to Lloyd. Bryan, man, you know how to pick good friends.
Well, he picked me, man. I was just a 18-year-old guy playing guitar, and this guy discovers me, right? Isn't that something like, he's a friend of mine. When I stop and think about it, though, I'm just in awe, because it's like, it's like surreal. I mean, I've been around so many people in the music industry.
Yeah, how things have just come full circle, right?
Exactly.
But you could
Full
tell
circle.
he's an awesome guy. You could just tell with people when they're genuine or not. And he's one of those that, is very genuine, and you know what he's a part of, and you know the opportunity that we have to kind of get in there and throw our name out there. And there's just so much potential, and I can't wait to see, you know, what flourishes out of this.
Oh, absolutely. And those young guys need to embark on new technology like this. They would embrace it, and Lloyd knows it too.
Hey, and that's why we brought people like you, because you also have a great way of conveying that to people. And we're going to work hard. That's all we're going to tell the community right now. And you will see where our efforts get us. So, Bryan, thanks for being on this podcast with me. I look forward to having you on many more now that you are officially a member of the team. And I want to say thank you to the Tron community and everyone out there listening to the podcast. We hope that you like this show, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Thank you.